Hello, everyone. I have the great honor and privilege of interviewing a really wonderful friend of mine today. My name is Brian Aber, and I will be interviewing Christopher Shaw. He is a licensed psychotherapist and healer here in Austin, Texas. If you'd like more information on him and what he provides and what services he offers, you can go to christophershaw.net. I'll also be repeating that website at the end as well. So, welcome, Christopher. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. I am super excited about this. So, without further ado, if we'll just jump right in, um, back in August, this recent August, you went to Mexico for a plant medicine retreat. So, I would like to know more about that and what prompted you to seek that path.
Brian, I was so broken. I had lost hope. I had lost my zest for life. I had lost my vision for the future. I was just completely lost. And all of that started back in 2019 when I went through a very heartbreaking divorce. I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with my spouse and live happily ever after, and that didn't happen. And when we went through our divorce, which was very amicable and loving, it still shattered my world and left me feeling really broken. I started coping with life in a lot of unhealthy ways, unhealthy relationships, and not really using the tools of my recovery that I have gained over the years. And I would say the last 5 years have been pretty rough. They've been there's been ups, there's been downs, there's been all arounds, good, bad, and beautiful and ugly and everything in between. And about 3 years ago, I met a wonderful soul. I met a wonderful soul, and I fell in love. And we started dating, and then we moved in together. And then, I asked him to marry me. And we were supposed to get married back in May of this year. And in January of 2024 of this year, we decided to end the relationship and call the wedding off, which was a very difficult decision to make, but it was the right decision on so many levels. And I'm very grateful that I tuned in to that decision. And I think it was the most loving and beautiful decision, one of the most loving and beautiful decisions that I've ever made. So I'm very proud of myself for making that decision. But making that decision was really hard. And once again, it kind of left me lost. Everything that I had kind of envisioned for my new future kind of was thrown out the window instantly. And I didn't know what to do, And so I coped in unhealthy ways, and really over the last 5 years, I've been in a midlife crisis. This year I turned 49. When my divorce happened, I was 44. And man, did I enter that midlife crisis. Oh man, like just feeling like lost and kind of dating the wrong people and being wild and just doing things that weren't necessarily in line with who I really was spiritually or you know what I mean. And so, I had been getting pretty tired with this midlife crisis. And when all of this happened back in January and my relationship ended, it just got worse after that, until May. And in May, on May 10th, I had enough. I had enough. And I surrendered. And I said, okay, universe, okay, higher power, like enough is enough. I've been in this midlife crisis long enough. I don't want to live this way anymore. I want to heal. I want to get healthy. I want relief. And I want some freedom. I want some answers. I want some direction. I just need help. And from the moment that I surrendered and got quiet, I was able to download from Spirit a treatment plan, which was beautiful. It was a beautiful treatment plan of exactly what I needed to do. I've been in recovery since 2008 now, and and um, and in my recovery, it's been up and down and all around over the years, and the last 5 years have been rough. And so when I resurrendered on May 10th, and I was given this treatment plan, I was told a few things. I was told, get a new sponsor, go to meetings, dive into your prayer and meditation, again, get into reading spiritual books again, like really dive into your spirituality again. And, for quite some time now, I had been lost spiritually, probably about 2015, 2016, I kind of coasted in my recovery and stopped kind of doing the things that one should really do to stay vibrant and like living happily in one's recovery. And so it's kind of been a little bit of a downward hill since then, spiritually for me. And so I got these answers, right? And this treatment plan came to me, and I had a dear friend, who went to visit a plant medicine man in Mexico about a year and a half now. And this changed his life. It changed his life dramatically. And when I downloaded my treatment plan for my spirit told me contact him and see if you can get referred to go down and work with this medicine man. So
Mhm.
I contacted him, and sure enough, this friend of mine referred me to the plant medicine man in Mexico, because it's referral only, and I was accepted. And from that moment, my life shifted. From that moment, the summer was an incredible summer, full of life-changing experiences. I started feeling better. I worked steps 1 through 3 in 1 month because I wanted relief, right? And, I kept being told, slow down, you need to slow down. But that wasn't what Spirit was telling me. Spirit was telling me, you need to do the work and you need to do it now. And so I surrendered. I got honest, open-minded, and willing. The first three spiritual principles are honesty, hope, and faith. And I just dove right back into those. And I surrounded myself with people that loved me and that supported me on this journey and that supported me in my decision to go down to Mexico and to do this plant medicine retreat. And so part of the plant medicine retreat was that I had to come off all of my psychiatric medications. And this is a big part of my story because, never in my life had I ever had to be on psychiatric medications until I went through my divorce. And when I went through my divorce, I was suicidal, I was depressed, I was anxious, I was doom and gloom. I mean, I was pretty fucked up. It really fucked me up, and I met a beautiful psychiatric nurse practitioner who's no longer with us. He's passed on, but bless his soul, he was amazing. And he helped me and he put me on medications that were very helpful, for that time in my life and for helpful over the last few years, And but in the end, I was on a pill for everything. I was on a pill to go to sleep. I was on a pill to wake up. I was on a pill to stay happy, a pill to stay calm, a pill to do this, a pill to do that. Oh, mamma mia! I was on a pill for everything. And one of the protocols for this plant medicine retreat was that I had to come off of everything, right? And I was okay with that. Like I was ready. I just was ready and I was willing to do whatever it takes to recover. And in order to take the plant medicine, I had to come off my big pharma medications. And so with the help of my new nurse practitioner, psychiatric nurse practitioner, who's amazing, I love her so much. I love her. And, I spoke with her about the retreat. She was totally on board and she helped me taper off my medications, along with acupuncture, Chinese herbs, lots of prayer and meditation, meetings, and sponsorship and working stuff. Like all of that kind of played a big part in preparing me for the retreat. And so I think it was by the end of June, mid-July, I was off of everything. And you know what? For the first time in 5 years, I was me again. I was me again. It was so beautiful. Like I'm a little sassy. I'm, 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 uh, I'm like a lot of sunshine and sometimes a little bit of a hurricane, and like, and I have moods. Like, sometimes I'm happy and sometimes I'm not so happy and sometimes I'm excited and sometimes I'm not. And you know what? That's okay. That is okay.
Mhm.
It was beautiful to see this return of Chris. Like, Chris, like, I'm back, people. I'm freaking back. I used to share in meetings this summer that, like, that fire that was burning, that fire that was burning before May 11th was almost out. It was like the coals were barely lit.
Hmm.
And the things I did this summer lit that fire again. And man, I was on fire for my life, for my recovery. Like I was so excited that even if I didn't go on this plant medicine retreat in August, I would have won. I would have, I would have won, like things were that good, right?
Yeah.
And so how was I sleeping? Well, I meditated. I took melatonin gummies. I took some other CBN, which is a cannabinoid, which doesn't have the THC in it, but it has the healing properties of the cannabinoids. And my acupuncturist have prescribed me some gummies to help me stay asleep. And so I took those, and I took some calming herbs, which I no longer take anymore. I don't need, but I was taking them at the time, and that they really helped. And I was using I have a brainwave device. It's called the Alpha Stem that you attach to your earlobes, and it sends in a signal across your cranial nervous system, and it brings your brain to alpha. So cool in 20 minutes. Amazing. And so I would use that at night before bed, and I slept great, and the retreat rolled along, and or time rolled along, and the retreat came up, and in August I embarked upon this retreat. I was supposed to be there for 6 days, and I had a plan to go down to Puerto Vallarta and just unwind, and spend like 2 days on the beach and kind of chill out. And when I told my healer, my medicine man, that, he said, "No, you're coming directly here from the airport. We will begin immediately." And I was like, "Anything you say." Yes, anything you say. And so that was it. I went directly there, and the work began. And it was life changing. It was life altering, eternally life altering. Like I will be forever changed, for what happened there. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience. And I think you have some questions about that. I'll answer a little bit more later, but it was. I don't even have words to describe how grateful I am for my healer, for my process, for the spiritual path that I have been given today. I have a beautiful spiritual path today that I'm following, a beautiful spiritual program that I'm following. Like I love my life today. I don't even want to, Brad, I don't even want to go to sleep at night because I don't want to miss a moment. I don't want to miss a precious moment of this beautiful life. And, before I went away, I thought to myself, I don't have a lot of Thanksgivings left. I really don't. I'm probably going to die when I'm in my 60s, and and that's okay because I believe in reincarnation anyway. So I'm just going to come back and whatever. It's like, oh, if I die in Mexico, I die in Mexico. And but now I can see myself living into my 90s, and like getting old, and like I you know I went down there with three goals: freedom, clarity, and unity. And I got that and so much more. So much more. Yeah.
What happened? Tell us a little bit more. Like, what was like your daily routine while you were there? Did you have classes? Did you meditation time, prayer time? Like, what were some of the things that uh, you did there that were so life altering and life changing for you?
Oh, I can, without going into too many details, because that would take a little while, but I can tell you when I first arrived, I had to fast from the night before all the way until I arrived. And my flight was late, of course. And I got there like around 2:30 at the healing center, starving. I was starving, but I could have juice. So I had some juice during the day. And as soon as I got there, I met my incredible healer and his family who was there. And I met his assistant. And he said, "Go with her and to the other room, and we're going to get started." And so we went into this little back chapel kind of temple. Well, it was kind of more like a chapel room. The retreat center there was beautiful. It was like a compound in kind of like the Mexican jungle farmland, I call it, which was about a 30-minute walk from the beach. But pretty much all around us there were like cows and horses and animals and other houses, and but the center there is beautiful. And there was multiple dwellings. There was a dwelling where him and his family lived. There was an outdoor kitchen. There were different altars that were like kind of like set up to honor different deities. And there was a temple, and it was all open, the temple, with like one wall in the back and then a little small wall where the altar was. And there were in the middle of the temple was a fire pit. And so the first thing we did when I got there was we went and we lit the ceremonial fire, which we kept lit for the 8 total days that I was there. And and so we lit the fire and we set some intentions and we prayed and we were just there, and it wasn't a religious retreat, it was a spiritual retreat. So I wasn't told how to pray or who to pray to or any of that stuff. Like I come from a Christian background. I was born in the Bible Belt, Pensacola, Florida, and I was raised in the Methodist church, and then I moved to the Baptist church, and that's a long story for another day. But a lot of religious abuse, a lot of things that were not very pleasant. And when I went to college, I kind of denounced religion, and I was like, screw that. That is not something that I want in my life. But I was always a spiritual being. Like even from a young age, I was into tarot cards and crystals and dream catchers, and I'd read all these spiritual books, and I was kind of into all that stuff. So I had a higher power. One of the beautiful things about the 12-step programs is that you get to design your own higher power. And so I designed my own higher power. It was working somewhat, and it had definitely worked this summer. And so I just used what I had, right? And I prayed to what was out there, and I tuned into me. And after that, we went back to the outdoor kitchen, and then I was taken by his assistant into this other room, and I was given my first colonic. Well, for those of you that don't know what a colonic is, essentially they put a magic potion via tube into your anus, and lots of liquid is just put up there in order to cleanse yourself from that end. And not the most fun experience for sure, but very cleansing. And after it's over and it all comes out, you're like, ah, I feel great, I feel great, and so like clean, and so that's how it all began. But typically, and then that day I got settled in, and I think I might have walked to the beach, and it was, a little bit calmer that day, and there was a lot of alone time. For the first few days, it was just me and him, and I was alone a lot, and which was weird for me because I'm a social person, sort of. I mean, I'm kind of an extroverted introvert, and so I can be extroverted if I need to, but I also, when I'm home alone, I don't like to be home alone for too long. And so here I was alone, a lot of the time, and I was alone with my thoughts, I was alone with my body, I was alone. Um, with no phone because I decided to turn my phone off and to not be bothered by the outside world, and that was great. It was beautiful. It was beautiful to not have to be connected, to anything or anyone. And I learned that week that I really liked being alone. I was able to go inward. I was able to meditate. I was able to write. I journaled the whole week, and I read, and I did. It was just so beautiful. And a typical day, we would get up at like sunrise, and we would go to the temple. And me and my healer would listen to about an hour and 15 minutes of mantras and, beautiful chanting and music and pray and do all that and just get really centered around the fire. And then after that, I would do my colonic. And then after that, I would do my first combo treatment. Combo is a plant medicine that comes from an Amazonian tree frog. It is not a psychedelic, but it's a purgative. And so when it's applied, you throw up. And it's made of 9 different peptides that work together to heal your body. Combo it's incredible. There's actually a lot of research that's being done on combo, but Big Pharma does not want us to know about this little cute frog that is saving people's lives. And I'm not going to claim anything here, but you can go online and do your research. But people are being cured of all kinds of diseases and sicknesses with this incredible medicine. And so I had 4 of those treatments while I was there, and that we because you gotta if you're gonna heal your complete being, you have to heal the mind, body, and spirit. And so combo cleans the body, but really only the body, because even though it targets targets you cellularly, and it also you also purge like emotionally and psychologically. Trauma is stored in the body. There's a beautiful book called The Body Keeps the Score. If any of you have ever read that, I would highly recommend it. But I experienced a lot of trauma in my life, a lot of trauma. And our body holds on to that. Now, I've done years and years of psychotherapy, years and years of recovery stuff, but the trauma is still in the body. If you don't get it out of the body somatically, it can still be stuck. And that's what causes disease. It causes sickness. It causes all kinds of nastiness, right? So with the combo, you throw it all up. I mean, you throw up the trauma essentially. And so it's applied. They use the meridian lines like they use in acupuncture, and then they apply these dots to your skin in various parts of your body. And we did different parts of my body, different days. And one day we did my heart chakra. One day we did my second chakra, which was all the sex stuff, which was very powerful that day, and in different areas of my body. And the first day, when he put the it's like a gel that they make with the serum, and you put the serum on these dots and it gets absorbed into your lymphatic system, which then goes right into your cardiovascular system. And within 30 seconds, oh, I forgot to tell you this, you have to drink like 3 liters of water, 2 to 3 liters of water in about 10 minutes. So and of course I've had no food that day yet. And so I'm full of all this water. And like I'm literally drinking so much water that the water is just coming out of my mouth because there's nowhere for it to go. I mean, it's just like I just wanted to throw up the water. I'm like, I think I can throw up without the combo. He's like, keep drinking the water. Because you don't want to throw up without anything in your belly because that's just not good for your body. And so you want that water to pull all the toxins out and to kind of like help with the process. And so, long story short, within 30 seconds, I'm out in the middle of the grass in the middle of the courtyard on this wood mat, kind of this wooden type of mat, and I'm just puking, and it was a beautiful ceremony too because there was mantras playing, or he would be playing the flute, or it was like we spoke to the medicine before and we gave thanks to the medicine. Every time that we used the medicine on this trip was a spiritual sacred ceremony. This is sacred medicine, and so after about 10 minutes and all the water's out and your body just tells you like you're good. You're done for the day. You're good. And I stood up and I was like, I am starving. Let's eat some breakfast. So we would, after that we'd go have breakfast and have coffee, and then after that I would walk down to the beach, and I kind of had my alone time at the beach, journaling and meditating and doing all that stuff. And then I would come back for lunch. At 3 in the afternoon, we had a big lunch. We only did 2 meals a day, and then I would have alone time in the afternoon to either get a massage or pray or meditate or journal or take a nap or whatever. And then at sunset, we would do Bufo. Bufo is 5-MeO-DMT. It comes from the Bufo frog from the Sonora Desert. And that is a psychedelic. It is a psychedelic assisted therapy, and it's very sacred. This frog is so sacred. And before we would do it, we would sit in the yard, and I would hold, the ceremonial pipe with the bufo and thank the bufo. Thank you, bufo. Thank you for showing me what I need to see today, for healing my body, mind, and spirit, and so forth. And then we would move forward with that. And I'll talk a little bit about that, my first experience with that later, because it was really powerful. And then after that, I would be free for the night, and I'd go to bed really early because we got up like around 4. And so, and every day, for the most part was like that until the weekend came, and some other kind of like his spiritual family had joined us for a few different ceremonies. We did a sweat lodge, which was incredible. It was my first sweat lodge. I literally thought I would die in there. An hour and a half of intense heat, there were 3 breaks, so there was 4 sections in an hour and a half with the drumming and the chanting and the singing, and it was beautiful. There was 8 of us in there, and I literally thought I was going to die. I was praying to stay alive. I was like, I've made it alive this far. And at this point, because I think that was like on day 3 or 4, I had hope again by then. Like I had. Like my a little bit of zest for life had returned. So I was like, I really don't want to die in this sweat lodge. I really don't. I want to live through this. So I was like laying on the ground of the sweat lodge with my lips touching the ground, breathing out of my mouth because I couldn't breathe out of my nose because it was so hot. And that was the only area that was cool, was the cement from the floor in this like tomb. We were in this like underground kind of tomb with this fire pit hole. It was wild. And then after that, that particular night was very special. We did a psilocybin ceremony, which was beautiful, and so many lessons, so much insight, so much knowledge, so much wisdom came from that experience. It was absolutely life-changing, and we did some other things while I was there. We did a beautiful offering to the sea, where I went down to the water at sunrise and offered myself to the sea, clearing up a lot of negative energy and things that I had held on to over these years. And that was really beautiful. And, it was overall, it just was like an amazing experience. So that in a nutshell, that's kind of like a quick version, even though that was kind of a long version, but that was kind of like the quicker version. So
Well, thank you for sharing all that. That's like mind blowing. Like, not many people have that opportunity to take time of their life to really go and heal. But I do want to backtrack a little bit. You brought up a couple of times that feeling of like, being in a sweat lodge and you felt like, oh my God, I'm gonna die and all that things. And you shared with me one of the experiences that you had there where you did go through a death experience. And would you like to share a little more about that?
yeah, but just real quick, I do believe that we all have the time and the
Mm,
resources to
mm,
experience a retreat like this. Retreats like this are not just for rich people, they're not just for white people, they're for everyone. And there are retreats like this happening all over the world.
mm,
Okay. And some of them are love offering retreats only, where you pay what you can. Others are super luxurious, where you pay a crap load of money and they're in like very luxurious. So there's all kinds of different options. So I just want to tell the viewers who are watching this that like don't think that you have to be a certain way or have a certain economic status or anything to do this. Like, if this is something that you're being called to do, the universe will find a way to make it happen for you. Like money will arrive, transportation will arrive, the support group will arrive, time off work will arrive. It's like all of that will happen to prepare you if this is something that calls you and you choose to do it. So there are no barriers, no barriers. Okay. So yes, I have posted on my YouTube channel a video of my death, and that's I stirred up a lot of questions and so forth. So that actually happened my first full day that I was there. It was while we were doing our Bufo ceremony. Um, I had a profound experience. The beginning of that experience, once we started, I kind of looked around and I looked up at the sky and the sky was like pixelated. It was like I was like, "Yep, we are living in the Matrix. We are so living in the Matrix." It's like I've always thought we were kind of living on the holodeck within a holodeck within a holodeck, and that was confirmed. It was like I looked up at the sky. It was like you were looking at a TV screen like really up close, and you could see all the pixels, and then I could see all this formulas, mathematical formulas, and sacred geometry, and all this kind of stuff in the sky. It was wild, and then, I was given some more Bufo, and I looked around. He said, "Look around you, and just look around you at the trees and and so, oh, Ryan, I looked. There was this beautiful tree like near me, and this tree had faces in it, and it was so reverent. It just was like standing there, like this, holding this sacred space for us." And with so much love and so much wisdom, our trees have so much wisdom. They have been around for a very long time and they're interconnected with everything through their root system. So it's like, I just can't believe we cut them down. It's just crazy. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But like, I just became one with this tree, and and then I looked down at this like it was about this small, like kind of like a quarter inch of grass, right? And in that grass, I saw a universe inside of it. I could see every creature and every living molecule, and it was just stunning. And then my healer said, "Here, take some more bufo. This time, this will be a big one." And I did what I was told, and I flew back onto this mat outside underneath the sky, and I died. I stopped breathing. I felt my energy, my essence, my soul totally leave my body. I was able to feel what it feels like to be a corpse, to have no soul, to have no life. I literally felt my dead corpse, and in that moment, the grass and the snakes and the worms and everything came up and it wrapped itself around me, wrapped itself around all of my body. It pulled me into the earth and I was set free, free. For the first time in 49 years, I was free,
Mm.
free. And it was beautiful.
Uh,
It was beautiful. I I I didn't even need to come back. I
mm.
didn't need to come back. I was perfect. It was perfect, just the way that it was. And then my first breath, right? Oh my God. And there was this little dog you can see in the video, Paco. He's so cute. He was like licking me, and there was this little cat, and she's like licking me, and they were like my little spirit animals that kind of guided me through this process. And the whole ceremony, my beautiful healer was playing this beautiful indigenous flute and kind of circling around me, and it was a death ceremony. It was
Mm.
a death ceremony and a rebirth ceremony. Kind of all at the same time. And as I came to, my senses were magnified by 1,000. I could feel every bead of sweat on my body. I could hear everything. I could hear the mosquitoes and were flying around me, biting me, which I didn't notice before because you don't notice mosquitoes biting you when you're dead. And so like all of a sudden I'm back and like slowly I made my way back up and I started crying, and just with tears of gratitude to be alive and to be back, and to have downloaded all of that information because in what I call Bufo land, there is no time or space. It's like you're in the fifth dimension. You're above it all, and so being there is eternal, and it feels that way. It doesn't feel like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I mean, I think that my whole Bufo experience was about 20, 30 minutes, and but in that place, there isn't time. So yeah, that was big. And he said to me, not a lot of people are ready to die when they come here, and you were,
Mm.
and here you are, reborn. So yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that story and that experience. And um, mm, very honored. Thank you.
Um,
Mm. So I do know that you, and which you've also mentioned, that you're in recovery from chemical addiction. And so, how do you see your chemical addiction recovery and plant medicine uh, going together, not going together? How would you speak to that?
well, this is a very controversial topic, unfortunately. It's interesting because, you know, 12-step fellowships are amazing. A 12-step fellowship combined with my spiritual practices and psychotherapy, sponsorship, working steps, all that jazz in 2008, that saved my life. And it continued to save my life up to this point, right? The 12 step recovery has been really important for me. The 12 steps, they're not, it's not a religious program, it's a spiritual program, and you get to design your own higher power and use it as you see fit. And the 12 steps are nothing more than 12 spiritual principles: honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, forgiveness, brotherly love, service, um, perseverance, self-discipline, self-determined. And so, they're beautiful spiritual principles that all of us want to live by. And so what the steps do is they help us embody those spiritual principles, and so it's a beautiful program. And, as an addict, when I first came into recovery, I really thought I was the only person that was putting drugs in those holes. It was like, and I wasn't, it was like I met other people that were using drugs in similar ways, and I was like, oh, I'm not a freak. And, there are other people just like me, and the shame went away, right? And it was a beautiful thing. And I have a wonderful support group and beautiful friends, that I've met all around the world that are in recovery, and I honor them and I love them. And without them, I would definitely would not be alive, and I definitely would not be here today. I wouldn't be alive without 12-step recovery. So I'm really grateful for it. When I downloaded my treatment plan back in May, there were a lot of people that did not agree with my plan. Um, and certain people, certain people that had been in my support network for a long time, started to vanish from that support network. And they distanced themselves from me, which was very sad. Um, but new people came into my life, new people that were aligned with my new vision. And, I had prayed to bring some plant medicine recovery people into my life. And you know what? There are a number of people who have used plant medicine in 12-step recovery groups, but they don't talk openly about it. We're kind of like a secret group because there's a lot of backlash and there's a lot of opinions, and it's really an outside issue. And so you would never share about that kind of experience in a meeting because it's an outside issue. You might share that you're going on a spiritual retreat, but you're not going to share the details really about that. You might share that you participate in some alternative treatment modalities, but you're not going to really go into the details about that kind of stuff. But you would with your sponsor and your support network because they need to know everything. And so, my close group of friends knew what I was doing. My closest group of friends, all of them supported me in going on the retreat and using the plant medicine. So plant medicine is medicine, number one. Number two, the medicines are to pray, not to play. If one uses plant medicines to play and he or she is in recovery, I would consider that a relapse. If I'm taking magic mushrooms and going to Costco just for the fun of it, or I don't know why you want to go there, but whatever, it's like that would be kind of that could become problematic for me if I'm a person in recovery. If you're not in recovery and you take magic mushrooms and go to Costco, I bet your experience is a lot more fun than mine when I go there. Totally.
Yeah.
So, and that's great that you can do that. But for those of us that are in recovery, we have to be careful with mood and mind altering substances. And so I love that my healer taught me that the medicines are to pray and not to play. And so if the times that I've taken medicine, there's always been a ceremony, a sacred ceremony around it. There's been prayer, meditation, mantras, whatever, and when we're in recovery, and it also depends on what fellowship, different fellowships have different ideas about this. There's one 12-step fellowship that focuses on one particular drug, and there's lots of people that are calling themselves California sober now because they're smoking pot or they're doing other things, but they're not doing this one particular drug that their fellowship, that's in their name of their fellowship. And you know what? That works for some people, and that's okay with that fellowship, or for some people in that fellowship, and for other people in the fellowship, it's not. But one of the things I've learned over my 16 years as a psychotherapist is that individual paths to recovery differ. We are not, like I know they tell us in the program that we're not unique, because I think they want to teach us that we are not special and that we shouldn't get special treatment and that there's the same prescription for everybody and that you're just like everybody else. We all have the same obsession, we all have the same compulsion, and most of us have the same drug of choice, which is more. I know that I was addicted to more. Give me more. And so, in the fellowship that I go to, we admit that we're powerless over our addiction, not a specific drug, our addiction. And in that fellowship, there's only one requirement for membership, and that's the desire to stop using. It
Mhm.
doesn't say the desire to stop using mood and mind altering substances, prescription meds. It just says the desire to stop using. That's all it says. That's all it says. And so I have the desire, and I've had the desire. I have no desire whatsoever to go back to my drug of choices, my drugs of choice. I had a few that were my favorite back in the day. I have no desire to go back to those. You know why? Because drugs help us escape life. They help us escape us. They help us escape others. And I don't want to escape me today. I love me today. And I don't want to escape other people either because I see God in them too. And I don't want to escape my life because I value every precious moment of it. It's like I wasted enough of that time escaping it that I gotta almost gotta make up for it now. You know what I mean? And so in my particular program that I go to, there's a chapter that talks about using prescription medications prescribed by a doctor and how that's okay, you know. And in my recovery, I've had surgeries, I've had to be prescribed opiates and other things, you know, and nobody came to me and said, "Oh, you got to change your clean date. You relapsed because you took medications that was prescribed by a doctor." But when I said I was going to take plant medicine, they were like, "Oh, you're going to have to change your clean date and you're relapsing and you're using drugs." And I was like, "Actually, I don't agree with you because I was prescribed medication by a plant medicine doctor. I was prescribed plant medicine by a plant medicine doctor to be used ceremonially in a sacred setting, not to play. I mean, who drinks 3 gallons of water and throws it all up for fun? Nobody. You have to, this is healing work. This is serious healing work here. And so, you know, before Big Pharma, Mother Earth has always provided us with everything that we need to heal. And before Big Pharma was big in this country, we used Mother Earth's medicines. And then a president came along and, you know, kind of contributed to the creation of Big Pharma, and here we are. You know, Western medicine treats the symptoms, but we don't get to the root. You know, we don't get to the root causes. It's like, you know, a depression medication targets the brain, right, to modulate your levels of serotonin and all kinds of stuff, right? But like serotonin is produced in the gut. Has your psychiatrist ever said, what kind of food do you eat? You know, like how is your gut health? Most of the immune system is in the gut too. You know, what are we eating? What are we putting into our body? Have we worked through that trauma that's stored in our gut? Right? And so you know, it's big pharma. I'm I'm personally done with big pharma for now. Would I take an antibiotic if plant medicine was not curing a particular illness? Yes, I would follow my plant medicine doctor, my acupuncturist, my Western medicine doctor. I would get all of their opinions, and I would then go with the best treatment solution at the time. But I do honestly believe that Mother Earth does give us everything that we need to heal. And so, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I went to Mexico and I took prescribed medication to heal my body, mind, and spirit, you know, and that is not a relapse. That is definitely not a relapse. So that's kind of my opinion on that.
Okay. So if anyone felt the call to plant medicine, what would you say to them? What would you offer them as information, support, guidance?
Yeah, it's tricky. It depends. I've had a lot of people reach out, a lot of people from all over the world actually reaching out to me and asking me questions about my experience, wanting to know more. And of course, like the plant medicine community has been so super supportive because they get it, right? Like they get it. And there are plant medicine people that are in recovery and they get it too, and there are probably more plant medicine people in recovery than you know about because we typically don't go around talking about it or bragging about it or sharing about it in meetings. I think it's important that we share about it in our lives and in general because people need to know that this medicine exists. But at the same time, like I'm a big believer, Brian, in living by my life by attraction and not promotion. And that's one of our traditions in the 12-step fellowship. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. And so my guru has given me one message, and that is just be you. Go out and be you. And so I carry the message of recovery by just being me. And people are coming to me and saying, wow, Chris, like you're so happy. Like you're vibrant. Like you look like 5 years younger. Like what happened to you? And if somebody comes to you and asks you that, you can, by all means, tell them everything that you've done. And if they want more information, you can give them more information. But if someone were to come to me, either write me or come into my practice or whatever, and and tell me that they're being called to do this medicine, then, if they're a friend, I would share with them my experience. I would share with them everything that I know. I might help them find a place to go or connect them with people that are, using these medicines and so forth. And if they are a potential client, interestingly enough, I've been studying plant medicine for the last like year and a half. I wasn't ready yet to do my own ceremony with it, but I've been reading books on psychedelic integration and plant medicine integration and ceremonial preparation, and so I've already had a lot of knowledge as to how I can help my clients because here's the bottom line: while most psychedelics and plant medicines are not legal in our country, they are legal in certain states. California, Colorado, bless them, they're seeing the light. And there are some other cities that have delegalized, like, or decriminalized certain plant medicines. You need to know wherever you are what's legal and what's not. But if someone were to come to me in my practice, and this is now something that I'm offering as plant medicine assisted therapy, because I'm licensed in Texas and I also abide by my code of ethics, and I also don't break the law today because I'm a person in recovery who tries to live by the law and to the best of my ability. And, I do not sell, distribute, or administer any medication. And I've never administered any medication. I mean, if a client asks me if I have some Advil, I'm like, I don't. And even if I did, I wouldn't be able to give it to you because I'm not a doctor. But what I am trained to do is help an individual prepare to use medicine. And oftentimes, when we're called to the medicine, we can either be called to the medicine or we can be called to a certain medicine. Sometimes you'll be called to magic mushrooms, or you'll be called to boof, or you'll be called to ayahuasca, or you'll be called to ibogaine, or and you'll know and you might come to me and say, Chris, I have been called to do some ibogaine. And I would say, well, let's talk about that and let's come up with a treatment plan. And you'd come in and we do a few sessions and we talk about the medicines. We talk about what your goals were. We talk about what your intentions were, and then I would help you do some research to find a place. In Mexico, there's a lot of places where that are wonderful, where you could do like an ibogaine treatment or a psilocybin retreat or any of these types of retreats, the plant medicine retreats are available there because their laws are different. And so, I would connect them with various resources and, and guide them through the process without being there the day that they were using their medication. And we would talk about that and who to bring in to kind of be with them while they're doing that. If that's something they're doing at their home or if they're going off to a center to do it, then they have support group there. And then one of the things that's most important is integration. because we get so much information. We're down, I mean, we just download so much information during our experiences, our plant medicine healing journeys, that it's very important to be able to talk to someone that's knowledgeable about those experiences and to talk to somebody who's been through it. Because when you go to somebody who hasn't been through it and you tell them, that you became one with consciousness, they don't get it. But
Yeah.
somebody who's been trained in helping those that are healing with plant medicine gets it. And someone who's experienced plant medicine gets it. And so that's how I would help a potential client today. But yes, I think it's important that all of us who have experienced the medicine live our lives to the fullest and attract people to this beautiful sacred medicine.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love that you are huge on the support aspect, the exploration aspect, finding out as much information as you can before you make, whatever decisions. So I really, really love that because, you know, like you were talking in your recovery, we live in this world of more, 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 more. And a lot of times that moreness, we don't think about anything. We just jump right in head on. And then we're like, oh my God, what have I just done? Kind of thing. So I love that you're really, really all about the research, having the information, having all the resources and the support, because I think that's super, super important. I do have one last question that I would like to ask you. Um, so going through, your own experience in August in Mexico, um, and this it's always kind of a hard question to ask because a lot of times we'll think, well, can you sum this up? Or what was, the simplest form? And I know with this, there is no simple form, but what would be a few of the biggest revelations or the biggest wisdom that you were given through your own process in August?
That's a great question. And there I got so much wisdom I was given. I don't know if I was I'm gonna take that back. I was reminded. I
Mm,
was reminded of so much wisdom that I already have. I just didn't know how to access it.
mhm.
I truly believe that all of us have the answers. All of us are tapped into the universal mind. All of us have that wisdom inside of us, but either we don't think we do, or we have a whole set of negative core beliefs that tell us that we don't even deserve to have it, or we're
Yeah.
just not able to access it,
Mhm.
or we practice some kind of spiritual practice that tells us that we're less than and there's only one supreme being and one way to get to that scene. There's so many different things that can kind of get in the way with that. But I was opened up to the wisdom. I met my guides, they opened me up to the wisdom. I met the medicine opened me up to the wisdom. And it was like I got a downloads from the universal consciousness, from like the universal consciousness supercomputer, and what did I gain? So I think we're going to have to do a separate interview for all of that. But what I can tell you, um, we are all one,
Okay.
all one. We are all sacred beings. We are playing human. We're in this beautiful game called humanity, and life is like a play. Like this is like my life is a huge theatrical production, probably a telenovela miniseries, I'm guessing, that has been playing for 49 years on intergalactic television. It's like the Truman Show, but the Christopher Shaw show. Oh my gosh, telenovela, totally. And we're just actors. We're all actors, and we're in a play, that we wrote. I wrote my story.
Mhm.
God didn't write my story.
Mhm.
Santa Claus didn't write my story. I wrote my story. I wrote my story. I wrote the play. I wrote the play. I assembled a cast that I've been traveling around with for many, many, many lifetimes. And all of us have played numerous and different parts in so many plays. Because as you know, while my play is going on, my mom's play is going on, my brother's play is going on, my sister's plays are going on, my friends, so your plays, all of our plays are going on simultaneously, and they're interacting. It's almost like we're in these theaters doing these shows, but we just move back and forth between all these theaters all day long every day, and we're playing these parts. But if I'm playing a part in a play, then who am I? Who am I? I'm I'm just an actor,
Mhm.
just an actor in this beautiful play that I've written, you know? And that's beautiful. And it's okay to be living in character in my play. Why not enjoy the play that I wrote and enjoy every experience that I get to experience here as Christopher Scott Shaw, being human? But I also have to remember that I am not that actor. I am so much more. I am you. You are me. We are we. And when you walk around the world and you look at others and you know that, it makes it hard to objectify them. It makes it hard to be angry at them in traffic. They're just extensions of me. We're all one. We're all one. And so that was probably the biggest takeaway, and the little biggest wisdom, but the biggest gift that I got for this play and for this lifetime was a spiritual path. I found my spiritual path. I rediscovered it, something that um, was lost for a very long time. I now have a very beautiful spiritual practice. I get up at 4 in the morning. I pray, I meditate, I listen to mantras until about 6:30. I read spiritual books. I'm not watching any television right now. I'm not even listening to any secular music right now. I'm just listening to a lot of spiritual music and a lot of mantras and a lot of yeah. I'm going to Kundalini yoga. I'm doing all kinds of things for my spiritual practice, and that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then, most importantly, I get to serve. You know, I always knew that I came here to serve, but this plant medicine retreat really did show me again my mission. And my mission is to serve compassion to humankind, compassion for our beautiful kingdom. And I love what I do. I love helping others. I love my job. I love serving others in this way and helping others find themselves, helping others tap into the answers that they already have. And one of the super exciting things that's going to be happening soon is starting in January, um, I'll be co-facilitating plant medicine retreats in Puerto Vallarta, where I will specialize in ceremony preparation and integration. And I will be working with a specific plant medicine man or woman that will be administering the medicine and who will kind of be in charge of all of that while I will be doing this stuff. So it's super exciting. So I'm just going to plug that. Be on the lookout for a new website that will be created within the next few weeks where you can get more information on that. But you can get more information about me on my website, www.christophershaw.net. I have a YouTube, I have a Facebook, I have Instagram. I know it's crazy, but I've been told I need to get out there and like share my story and just be me. And for many years I've kept quiet and I'm done. I'm done. It's time for me to just be me and share with all of you um, who I am.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, if is there any one last thing you would like to share? Or sounds like we have a lot of little channels to explore in other episodes and stuff like that that I definitely would like to do. So
Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for interviewing me today and for taking the time to do this. I know that you, Brian, have been my biggest fan, my biggest supporter, my best friend. I love you so much. I honor our soul contract that we made in this life to be here for each other, to support each other on our spiritual journeys. And I am so grateful eternally for you and for us and for the time that we spent together today. Let's come back to more questions another day. I think this is probably enough for our audience. They're
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
whoa, you know?
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
thank you. I love you. And we will see you guys soon.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone,
Bye.
for watching. Bye.